Welcome back to the deep dive. We are really glad you're here with us today. Now, usually when we spin the globe and, land on a topic, we try to uncover something hidden. But today we are landing on a place that feels like it's hiding in plain sight. We are talking about Switzerland. And I know exactly what just popped into your head the second I said that word.
I can probably guess. It's the brand, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's the brand. It's the jagged peak of the Matterhorn with that perfect little cloud next to it.
Yeah.
It's the purple cow grazing in a meadow that looks like it was manicured with nail scissors.
Right.
It's the chocolate that melts in your mouth, not in your hand. And for our specific listeners today, many of whom are tuning in from Thailand or Southeast Asia, it's probably an image of a sleek red train arriving at the station exactly at 0800 hours, not a second late.
Is the postcard version of a country.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it is a very effective brand. I mean, it's one of the most successful national brands in history.
It is. But there's another image that comes with that brand, isn't there? It's not just the mountains, it's the bank vault.
Yes. The money.
Exactly, the numbers. When you are sitting in Bangkok or Kuala Lumpur or Manila and you look at a salary offer from a Swiss company, I mean, let's be honest, it looks like you've won the lottery. You pull out your phone, you do the currency conversion from Swiss francs to baht, and your eyes just pop out of your head. It screams wealth.
It does. It screams, I have made it. But that is exactly where we need to slam on the brakes, because if there is one core message, one real thesis statement for this deep dive today, it's based on this incredibly detailed boots-on-the-ground guide we've been analyzing. And the thesis is this: high salary does not equal high savings.
That sounds impossible. I mean, it just sounds like bad math. If I'm making, say, 100,000 Swiss francs, which is a massive amount of money in almost any other context,
Right.
how am I not rich? How am I not saving a fortune?
Because you are moving into a system that is designed quite efficiently to extract that wealth back out of you in ways that you, coming from a completely different system, cannot possibly anticipate.
Wow.
The guide we're covering is titled The Reality of Living in Switzerland That Most People Don't Know, and it is written specifically as a reality check for expats coming from warmer, perhaps more relaxed climates.
So we are contrasting the sabai mindset, the Thai concept of take it easy, relax, it's fine, with what exactly?
The culture of hyper-responsibility.
Okay.
Switzerland is a country that rewards discipline. But more importantly, this is the scary part, it is a country that punishes disorganization.
Punishes it.
Yes. If you are disorganized in Switzerland, it won't just be annoying, it will cost you thousands of francs. It is a system that assumes you are perfect, and if you aren't, you pay.
Okay, so our mission today is to basically tear up the postcard. We aren't talking about the best fondue spots or where to buy a Rolex. We are going to dissect the systemic machinery of this country.
Exactly.
We're going to walk through the labyrinth of the healthcare system, the three-headed monster of the tax code, the fortress that is the housing market, and the silent psychological toll of trying to fit into a society that values silence over spontaneity.
We're going to look at the actual price tag of stability,
Mm-hmm.
because stability is a product you buy, and in Switzerland, it is a luxury good.
Let's start with the hook then. Let's start with the money. Because that is the primary motivator for migration, right? You get that job offer, you see a number, let's say 8,000 or 10,000 francs a month. You pull out your calculator, you think, I can buy a house in 2 years, I can retire early.
Right. This is what the source calls the salary illusion. And it starts with a very heavy warning about the gross versus net trap. Now, in many countries like the UK or even in Thailand to an extent, you have a general idea that tax comes out and the rest is yours.
Sure. The company handles it, you get the net amount, you spend the net amount. Simple.
In Switzerland, it's not that simple. First, you have the deductions that do come out of the paycheck. You have the AHV, that's the old age and survivor's insurance. You have the IV disability insurance. You have the ALV unemployment insurance. And then you have the pension pillar too.
Okay, so that's the standard slice. That feels pretty normal. Every country takes a cut for the safety net.
It feels normal? Yeah, but it's a significant chunk, usually around 10 to 15% right off the top.
Yeah.
But here is the trap. The money that lands in your bank account after those deductions,
Yeah.
that is still not your money.
Wait, explain that. If it's in my account, surely I can spend it.
Not in Switzerland.
Yeah.
For many people, especially if you have a C permit, which is permanent residence, or if you earn above a certain threshold, usually 120,000 francs a year, the tax is not deducted from your salary at the source.
They just give you the gross amount. They trust you with the government's money.
They give you the money. It sits there. You feel rich. You see that balance, and you think, I can afford the nice car. I can afford the ski trip. I can afford the expensive dinner. But the state is watching. And at the end of the year, or sometimes with a provisional bill during the year, they ask for it back.
And if you haven't saved it, if you spent it on the ski trip,
You are in serious trouble. The source calls this the annual tax shock. Imagine living your best life for 12 months thinking you are just crushing it financially, and then in January, a bill arrives for 20,000 or 30,000 francs, payable within 30 days.
that's a down payment on a house. That's a car.
Exactly. And there is no payment plan initially. You owe it. The system assumes you are a financially literate adult who has been putting away 15 to 20% of your income into a separate account every single month. It doesn't babysit you. It treats you like a corporation.
That's a massive cultural shift. If you come from a cash flow culture where you just spend what you have, Switzerland is setting you up to fail. You literally have to act as your own tax controller.
It gets more complicated than that.
Oh, great.
We need to talk about who you are paying.
Yeah.
Because you aren't just writing a check to Switzerland. You are navigating a three-tiered tax system
3 tiers. Why does it need 3 layers?
because of federalism.
Huh.
Tier 1 is federal tax. Everyone pays this to burn to the central government. It's actually the lowest part of your bill. That funds the army, the highways, the big stuff. Tier 2 is cantonal tax. Switzerland has 26 cantons. Think of them as states. Each one has total autonomy to set its own tax rate.
So living in Zurich costs a different amount than living in Zug?
Drastically different. We're talking about a difference of thousands of francs a year for the exact same salary. Zug is famous for being a tax haven. Their rates are incredibly low. Other cantons, like Neuchâtel or Jura, might have rates that are nearly double what you'd pay in Zug. So when you choose where to live, you aren't just choosing the scenery or the commute.
You're choosing your tax bracket.
Exactly.
It sounds like strategic gaming. You have to map out your life based on tax borders.
Yeah, you do. But then comes the third tier, and this is the one that really blows people's minds. The commune tax.
The commune, you mean the town.
The specific village or town you live in also taxes you.
The village gets a cut.
The village gets a huge cut, and it varies street by street sometimes. You could live in one village, and your friend lives 5 minutes away in the next village, and she pays 10% less tax than you simply because her village has more rich people or fewer municipal expenses.
But that requires a level of research that most expats just don't do before they sign a lease. You just look for a nice apartment, right?
Precisely. You find a nice apartment in a cute village, you sign the lease, and then you find out later that you moved into a high-tax commune. And the source makes a point here about the wealth tax as well. This is unique and often shocks people from the US or Asia. In Switzerland, you don't just pay tax on what you earn. You pay tax on what you have.
Wait, you mean my savings? My assets? If I save money, they tax me on the savings.
Yes. If you have stocks, cash in the bank, a car, valuable jewelry, you declare it all. And the canton takes a percentage of your net worth every year.
So you are effectively penalized for saving.
In a way, yes. It's usually a small percentage, often less than 1%, but it adds up. It's the price of entry for being part of the club. The system is incredibly transparent. You can look all this up online, but it is unforgiving. If you don't declare it and they find out, the fines are astronomical.
This really frames the high salary in a different light. It's high salary, high overhead, high complexity.
And high risk. Because if you mess this up, if you spend that tax money, you end up in the debt register. And in Switzerland, the debt register is basically a life sentence. But we'll get to that when we talk about housing. First, we have to talk about the other massive hole in your pocket, healthcare.
Yes. Let's pivot to Lamal. Now, coming from outside Europe, there is this general assumption that Europe is a socialist paradise. High taxes mean free healthcare, right? Like the NHS in the UK. You walk in, you get treated, you walk out.
That is the single biggest misconception people have about Switzerland. The source material is blunt about this. Swiss healthcare is arguably the best in the world. The hospitals are like hotels, the technology is space age, but it is absolutely not free. In fact, it is one of the most expensive private costs you will face.
So it's not tied to your job. My employer doesn't pay it.
No, your employer has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
As soon as you register as a resident, you have 3 months to purchase a private health insurance policy. It is mandatory. It's called Lamal, which stands for the Federal Health Insurance Act.
So I have to go shopping for insurance like I'm shopping for car insurance.
Exactly. You compare providers. And the premiums are not cheap. Depending on your age and your canton, because again, geography matters, you're looking at 350 to 500 francs a month per person.
Per person. So if I move with my wife and 2 kids, let me do the math.
You are paying nearly 1,500 to 2,000 francs a month just for the premiums. That's 24,000 francs a year gone, just to have the plastic card in your wallet. That money is gone before you even see a doctor.
That is staggering. But at least once I pay that, the doctor is free, right? If I have a fever, I can go see a GP.
I wish.
Yeah.
Welcome to the franchise.
The deductible.
The deductible. When you sign up, you choose your risk level. The standard franchise ranges from 300 francs to 2,500 francs. This is the amount you must pay out of your own pocket before the insurance pays 1 single cent.
So let's play this out. I'm a healthy guy. I want to save money on my monthly premium. So I choose the highest deductible, 2,500 francs. That lowers my monthly bill, right?
Right. That's a very common strategy. Your monthly bill goes down. But then, let's say you trip while hiking in those beautiful mountains and break your ankle. You go to the hospital. The bill is 2,000 francs. Guess who pays?
I pay the whole thing.
You pay the whole thing. The insurance company pays 0. And even after you hit that 2,500 francs limit, let's say the surgery costs 5,000, you still aren't done. There's a retention fee, a copay of 10% on every bill after the deductible, up to another 700 francs.
So in a bad year, I could pay my premiums, say, 4,000 francs plus my deductible at 2,500 plus my retention at 700. That's over 7,000 francs out of pocket, plus the premiums.
Correct. And that brings us to the specific horror story the source mentions, the ambulance.
This one really surprised me. In my head, an ambulance is a public service. If I'm dying, surely the state picks me up.
Not in Switzerland. The source warns that calling 144, the emergency number, is a financial decision. An ambulance ride is not covered by basic insurance unless there is a specific life-threatening condition, and even then, coverage is capped at a surprisingly low amount. A standard ride can cost 800 to 1,200 francs.
So people actually hesitate. If someone is hurt, they stop and think about the money.
They do. You will see people with broken arms taking a taxi to the ER. You see people driving themselves while in pain. The system is designed to discourage frivolous use of resources through financial pain. The logic is, if it's not worth 1,000 francs to you, it's not an emergency.
That is ruthless efficiency. It's logical, but it's cold.
It is. There is a workaround at the source hints at a membership called Riga. It's a private air rescue nonprofit. You pay about 40 francs a year, and if you need a helicopter rescue from a mountain, they cover it. Most Swiss people have this. But expats often don't know about it until they're stuck on a glacier with a broken leg and a 5,000 franc bill.
That's a pro tip right there. Get the Riga membership.
Absolutely. But the broader point is this. You cannot be casual about your health in Switzerland. You have to budget for illness. If you don't, and you can't pay your premiums, the consequences are severe.
What happens? Do they cancel your insurance?
No, because it's mandatory. They can't cancel it. But the insurance company notifies the canton. The canton then puts you on a blacklist. Once you're on that list, the insurance company will only pay for emergency treatments to save your life. They won't pay for your medication, your therapy, or your checkups. You are effectively cut off from the medical system until you pay your debt.
It's a debt spiral. You can't get treated, so you can't get better, so you can't work, so you can't pay.
It is. And once you have debt, you run into the next wall, the housing market.
Let's talk about the Fortress of Solitude. The source describes finding an apartment in a major city like Zurich or Geneva, not as shopping, but as applying for a second job.
It is combat, plain and simple. The vacancy rate in cities like Zurich is often below 0.5%. That means for every empty apartment, there are hundreds of people looking.
So you go to a viewing.
You and 50 other people, you are all standing on the stairs trying to impress the current tenant or the agent. It's awkward, it's tense, and you aren't just there to look. You're there to submit a dossier.
This sounds so formal. What goes into an apartment dossier?
Everything. Your CV, your work contract, your last 3 salary slips, a copy of your permit, references from your employer, and the Holy Grail, the Betreibungsregistrauszug.
Say that again?
The Betreibungsregistrauszug. It is the extract from the debt collection register. In Switzerland, every financial misstep is recorded centrally. If you fail to pay a bill, even a small one, and the company pursues it, it goes on this list. You have to go to the local government office and pay 17 francs to get this piece of paper.
And if there is one mark on it?
You are toxic. No landlord will touch you. This is why paying your taxes and your health insurance on time is existential. If you get a mark on that register, you effectively cannot rent a home. You are locked out of the housing market.
That is incredible pressure. You have to be financially perfect just to get a roof over your head.
And for a new expat, say from Thailand, this creates a chicken and egg problem. To get the debt register extract, you have to be a resident. To be a resident, you need an address. To get an address, you need the extract.
How do you break the cycle? That sounds impossible.
Usually you have to start in a temporary furnished apartment, which is incredibly expensive, sometimes double the normal rent or an Airbnb, just to get into the system. It takes months.
And when you finally find a landlord who accepts you, I assume it's expensive.
It's expensive, yes, but the shock is the deposit. The standard rental deposit is 3 months of rent.
3 months. So if rent is 2,500 francs, which is standard for a two-bedroom.
You need to put 7,500 francs into a blocked bank account, plus the first month's rent. You need 10,000 francs in cash just to get the keys.
For someone coming from a country where the deposit is maybe 1 month or where you can negotiate, this is a massive liquidity crisis. You haven't even received your first paycheck yet.
It is. There is an insurance product called Swiss Caution, where you pay an annual fee instead of the deposit, but over time it costs more. But again, it's just another bill.
It feels like the country is testing your seriousness at every step. Are you disciplined? Do you have savings? Are you organized? If no, turn back now.
That's the postcard illusion crumbling. The scenery is free to look at, but existing within it requires a level of administrative competence that most people never have to develop in their home countries. And we haven't even talked about what happens inside the apartment.
Oh no, what happens inside?
The rules, the house rules. In many buildings, you have a laundry schedule. You don't have a machine in your unit, you share one in the basement.
Okay. That's common in some places like New York.
But in Switzerland, you have a slot. Every second Tuesday from 0800 to 1200. If you miss your slot, you don't wash your clothes for 2 weeks. And if you leave the filter dirty, the neighbors will leave a passive-aggressive note, or they will complain to the landlord.
The neighbors are watching.
The neighbors are always watching. It's a self-policing society. This brings us to the hidden costs section of our deep dive, the death by 1,000 cuts.
The garbage police caught my eye in the source notes. Tell me this is an exaggeration.
It is not. In Thailand, you might put your trash out in a bin, maybe sort some plastic if you're diligent. In Switzerland, waste disposal is a highly regulated paid service. You cannot use a regular black trash bag.
You can't. Why not?
Because the disposal fee is built into the price of the bag. You must buy the official cantonal bags. In Zurich, they are called the Zuri sack. They are white and blue. A roll of 10 bags costs about 17 to 20 francs.
That's $2 a bag.
Yes. The logic is polluter pays. If you produce a lot of trash, you pay more. So you are incentivized to recycle everything.
Okay, that's good for the environment. I can respect that.
It is. But the enforcement is scary. If you try to save money by putting your trash in a regular black bag and sneaking it into the dumpster, there are literally trash detectives.
Come on, you're making that up.
I am serious. They are municipal workers whose job is to open non-compliant bags. They will put on gloves, dig through your trash, and look for an envelope with your address on it or a receipt. If they find it, you get a fine. And the fine is not small, can be over 200 francs.
So you are standing in your kitchen, paralyzed, afraid to throw away a yogurt pot because you don't know if it's PET or polystyrene.
Exactly. You wash your trash.
Yeah.
You flatten your aluminum. You bundle your old newspapers with string. And the string has to be tied in a specific cross pattern, by the way. If the bundle is loose, the garbage man will leave it on the curb with a refused sticker. It is a test of your conformity. It sounds funny, but for an expat, it creates a low-level anxiety in your own home.
It sounds exhausting. It sounds like you are constantly being graded on how well you follow the rules.
You are. And then there are the bills that just appear out of nowhere, like Serafe.
Serafe, it sounds like a villain in a Bond movie. Mr. Bond, meet Serafe.
It's the media tax. Every household must pay 335 francs a year to fund the Swiss public broadcasters.
But what if I'm a Thai expat? I don't watch Swiss-German TV. I watch Netflix. I watch YouTube. I don't even own a TV.
Doesn't matter. The law says if you have the technical possibility to receive a signal, so if you have a smartphone, a laptop, or a car radio, you pay. It is unavoidable. It's just another tax disguised as a bill that arrives in your mailbox.
And then there's the cost of food. The source specifically mentions the meat shock for Thai expats. Thai cuisine is often rich in protein chicken, pork, beef.
And Switzerland. Switzerland has massive tariffs to protect its local farmers. A kilogram of chicken breast can cost 25 to 30 francs. A decent steak at the supermarket, not a restaurant, The supermarket can be 50 francs.
So a Sunday roast costs as much as a flight within Europe.
Pretty much. This forces a lifestyle change. You eat less meat, you become a flexitarian by financial necessity. Or you engage in the national sport of shopping tourism.
What is that?
If you live near the border, Basel, Geneva, Zurich, you drive to Germany or France on Saturday. You fill your car with groceries for half the price. You see Swiss license plates flooding the parking lots of German Aldus. It's a weekly pilgrimage.
So the system is so expensive that the locals have to flee the country just to buy pasta.
It's a paradox. Switzerland is wealthy, but the cost of living is so high that people go to great lengths to avoid participating in the local economy for basics. They earn in Switzerland, but spend in Europe.
We've covered the money, we've covered the rules. But there is a bigger hurdle, isn't there? The legal right to even be there? The permits?
The alphabet of staying. This is crucial. You don't just move to Switzerland. You are granted a permit, and that permit defines your entire existence.
Walk us through the tiers.
It starts usually with the L permit. L stands for short-term, usually up to a year. It's precarious. You can't sign a long lease easily. You can't buy a car easily. You're a guest who hasn't really unpacked yet. If you lose your job on an L permit, you are basically on the next plane home.
Then what?
If you have a permanent job, you get the B permit. This is the residence permit. It's renewed annually. It's better. But it's tied to your job, especially if you're a non-EU.
This is a big distinction for our Thai listeners.
Massive. If you are German or French, moving to Switzerland is easy because of bilateral agreements. If you are Thai, which is considered a third country national, the company has to prove that no one in Switzerland and no one in the entire EU could do your job.
So you are already exceptional just by being there.
Yes. But if you lose that job, you have a very short window to find a new one, or you leave.
Right.
The stress of the B permit is that it feels temporary. You are always looking over your shoulder.
And the goal is the C permit.
A C permit.
Yeah.
Settlement. You usually get this after 10 years or 5 years if you integrate exceptionally well. This grants you the right to live there indefinitely, change jobs freely, and be treated almost like a citizen, minus the vote.
But getting it isn't automatic.
No. And this is where the language barrier becomes a legal wall. In the past, you could get by with English in your corporate bubble. Now the laws have tightened. To get a C permit, or even to renew a B permit in some cases, you must prove language proficiency.
You have to take a test.
You have to take an official exam, the FIDE test. German, French, or Italian, depending on where you live. And German is not an easy language.
Especially Swiss German, which is a dialect that isn't even written.
Correct. You learn High German in school, the formal grammar, the correct pronunciation. But everyone on the street speaks Swiss German. So you study for years, you walk into a bakery, you speak your perfect German, and the baker answers in a dialect you don't understand. It is incredibly demoralizing.
The source mentions this pressure to integrate. It's not just about obeying the law, it's about proving you belong.
Yes. There are stories of people being denied citizenship or C permits because they didn't know the name of the local bakery or they didn't greet their neighbors enough. The integration check can be very subjective. You have to prove you are part of the village.
This leads us to the final and perhaps most difficult part of the deep dive, the psychological toll. Because you can have the money, you can have the clean debt register, you can have the correct trash bags, and you can still be miserable.
The cold reality. The source material devotes a whole section to the emotional climate of Switzerland. And it starts with the physical climate.
The winter depression.
If you are coming from Thailand, where the sun is a constant aggressive presence, it's always there, it's always bright, you are not prepared for a Swiss November.
What is it like?
It's the Hochneebel, high fog. It's a thick gray blanket that sits over the Swiss plateau for weeks. You might not see the sun for 20 days straight. It's just gray, all day.
And that does something to your brain.
It's physiological. Seasonal affective disorder. The source explicitly warns Thai expats to buy a light therapy lamp. Take vitamin D supplements. Do not underestimate this. It drains your energy. You feel lethargic, sad, heavy. It feels like the sky is pressing down on you.
And if you are feeling sad and heavy, you want a friend. You want community. You want to go hang out.
And that is where you hit the coconut culture.
The coconut versus the peach. Explain this analogy. I love this.
It's a classic intercultural theory. Cultures like the USA or Thailand are peaches. Soft on the outside, people smile, they chat, they're friendly immediately. You meet someone, and 5 minutes later you know their life story. But there's a hard pit in the center. It's actually hard to become a deep friend. Switzerland is a coconut. The outside is hard. People are polite but reserved. They don't smile at strangers. They don't make small talk at the bus stop.
So you feel rejected.
Constantly. You think they hate me, but they don't hate you. They just value privacy. To crack the coconut, you have to work at it for years. You have to join a verein.
A Verein.
A club. Switzerland is a nation of clubs. Shooting clubs, choir clubs, hiking clubs, gymnastics clubs. This is the only socially acceptable way to make friends. You don't make friends by just hanging out. You make friends by doing a structured activity together every Tuesday at 1900 hours.
So spontaneity is dead.
Spontaneity is effectively illegal. You don't just drop by someone's house. You make an appointment 3 weeks in advance. Shall we have coffee on March 14th at 1400?
That kills the soul a little bit if you are used to the fluidity of Thai culture. Hey, let's grab street food right now.
But that doesn't exist. And the silence. Sundays in Switzerland are sacredly quiet. You cannot mow your lawn. You cannot recycle your glass because it makes noise. In some buildings, you aren't supposed to flush the toilet after 10 p.m.
You're kidding.
It's an exaggeration in modern buildings, but in older leases, it's written down. The culture enforces quiet. For someone used to the sensory overload of Bangkok, the motorbikes, the street vendors, the music, Switzerland feels like a library or a sanatorium. It can feel incredibly lonely.
The source talks about an identity crisis.
This is the deepest cut. Imagine you are a marketing manager in Bangkok. You are respected. You are funny. You are articulate. You know how the world works. Then you move to Zurich. Suddenly you can't speak. You are a toddler in the language. You can't figure out the washing machine schedule. You are afraid of the garbage man.
You lose your competence.
You lose your status. You go from being someone to being the immigrant. It takes a massive amount of ego strength to rebuild your identity from zero. The source says many people don't make it. They stay for 2 years, they save some money, but the loneliness breaks them and they leave.
This has been heavy. We've really dismantled the dream. We've replaced the chocolate with tax bills and the mountains with fog.
We have, but this is crucial. The source isn't saying don't come.
No.
No, it's saying be ready. Because here is the other side of the coin. The trade-off.
What is the trade-off? Because it sounds like a lot of work.
You are buying a product, and the product is high-end stability. Think about what you get. You get trains that are never late. You get air that is clean. You get forests that are pristine. You get a society where if you have a heart attack on the street, the system will save you. You can walk home at 3 a.m. anywhere in the country and be safe. You don't worry about crime.
That is a luxury. Peace of mind is a luxury.
It is a massive luxury. But the price of that safety is the strictness. The price of the clean street is the expensive trash bag. The price of the silence is the lack of spontaneity.
It's a transaction.
It's a transaction. And for some people, people who crave order, who love nature, who are introverted, Switzerland is paradise. They love that nobody talks to them on the bus. But for others, those who crave warmth, chaos, noise, and connection, it is a golden cage.
So the final question for our listener isn't whether Switzerland is good, it's who are you?
Exactly. It's a definition of wealth. Is wealth a number in a bank account that you are terrified to spend because of the next tax bill? Or is wealth the ability to walk down a noisy street, you need a cheap bowl of noodles, laugh with a stranger, and feel relaxed? Switzerland offers the first kind of wealth. It struggles to offer the second.
That is a powerful distinction. Rich versus wealthy.
I'll leave you with this thought. We often chase the better life. We assume better means richer, cleaner, more organized. Switzerland is the pinnacle of that definition. It is the most organized place on earth. But in a system designed for perfect stability, is there room for the human need for messiness? Is there room for mistakes? If you move to Switzerland, you are moving to a place where mistakes are expensive. Are you willing to trade the warmth of a community for the security of a contract?
That is the question, and only you can answer it. This has been a fascinating look behind the curtain of the Swiss dream. Thank you for walking us through it.
My pleasure.
And thank you to the listener for diving deep with us. We'll see you on the next one. Stay curious.